In fact, I would say the 6 episodes I directed, they kept me going during those last years, 7 years. To know that somewhere in a few months' time there was an episode coming up with my name on it was fantastic. And to be directing these episodes with your pals in front of the camera, and even more important, with your pals behind the camera too.
What did you do when you were directing?
I asked him if he'd kneel down in an empty set.
But no.
He's never forgiven me for it.
With your pals, you're wonderful friends, you love each other, but something in your actor's mind doesn't like, Jonathan, would you stop smiling? Come on.
Yeah.
We can you say to your buddy,
absolutely.
You know, for 170, you did 179? You're on the last.
178.
Right. So 178. So on the 177th show, Jonathan says, Patrick, I can't stand the smile. Just, would you stop smiling?
Yeah, sure, sure. We said,
really?
But you know, we said that when we weren't directing.
Yeah, we were said it. It was absolutely free.
Things
you were there.
that you wouldn't like about his performance.
If you didn't have thick skin on our set, you really didn't survive.
Really?
It was a very, very brutal room.
Tough room.
It was.
A tough room.
I don't understand the distinction. You say you really enjoyed doing the episodes, but you did not want to direct the film.
Yeah, because I'd been in the films and they were outside my abilities. The scale and scope of it was too huge. Also, I felt I couldn't play the captain and take on that responsibility. I don't know how it was for you, but when we were directing episodes, I hated it, the days when I had to act. And furthermore, I couldn't act in the episodes I directed. I used to walk same arm as leg. I was so stiff in my own episodes, and I tried to get them to cut my scenes down. They would do that anyway. They would give you an episode in which you were light. We never directed anything in which we were especially heavy.
I understand that very well. The first Star Trek film that I directed, I was hardly in it. It was The Search for Spock, so I didn't have to show up until near the very end.
They couldn't find you.
Yeah.
Well, they thought you were dead.
The longer they couldn't find me, the better off.
Remember, that's what it was about.
I couldn't wait to get out of my uniform and into my jeans and T-shirt and get my viewfinder around my neck. And, we had a great time on our show, and there are things that happened at the beginning. It came up recently. I was a pain in the ass.
No.
Jonathan, come on.
Wait, generally?
Oh, yeah, I was. At the beginnt of the series.
Talk about that.
I was.
Well, that was where you were blowing smoke.
Why, we're getting good stuff.
So
No,
it
this
might
was
have
the
been
beginning of
irritated.
this was
Might have irritated the.
Let him talk about it. I want to hear about it.
Well, Doctor.
He is like a shrink, isn't he?
Yeah.
I was scared. The whole reason for me being a pain in the ass is that I was frightened of the work that I'd been asked to do. I'd never done anything like that in my life before. I'd never worked in Hollywood. I'd never been in a Hollywood studio. All these people, they were so easy and relaxed and familiar with everything. And I had the responsibility of sitting in that chair.
So what was it? How do you define? What are the results of a pain in the ass?
Well, I took everything too seriously. And I required my colleagues to take it seriously too. And early on in the series, there was this famous meeting called by me. I was the captain after all. You know, you're number one on the call sheet. He still calls me number one. And I called them all together and I said, I really think it's important that we all start taking this work a little more seriously. I think there's too much fooling around. I can't believe I did this. Too much fooling around on the set, you know, too much joking about, we're wasting time. I said, you've got to remember, you know, we go home at different times of the day. These people, all these people out here, they're here 12 hours a day, more than that, day after day after day. So I think it's our responsibility. Can you believe that I made that? Would you have made that speech, Bill?
I would have said the opposite. It was Leonard who would make that speech.
Oh, I see. I do remember
You're lying
at the end
again. You're lying. Right? Don't do that.
I said, it was Denise.
I think I would really like to hear from you what the cast reaction was to this performance.
Well, I can tell you what Denise Crosby said. Denise Crosby said, "Oh, Patrick,
please,
we got to have some fun." And I said, "We are not here to have fun, Denise."
Oh, wow.
Very famous quote.
Yeah.
Who said it had to be fun?
Yeah.
Wow. He was a pain in the ass.
But you know what?
That changed.
Did it change? And not only that, I've got to say this.
Everybody got serious?
No, no.
Oh, he changed.
I got to say this
What do you
publicly.
think?
Well,
The United
He was
States.
outnumbered by wild Americans.
The United States has been very, very good to me in many, many ways. Personally, professionally, financially, all of that. But perhaps the one thing that
This is a good way to open that Sir speech when you get knighted.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
And then segue into the...
yeah, but what about socially?
Socially, yeah, too. But the point I'm trying to make is that America made me funny. I wasn't funny before I came to it. I mean, maybe, okay, it's up for debate. Maybe I'm still, you know.
Now, you were amusing. Now you're funny.
You're funny, haha, now.
You're haha funny.
That's thanks to the United States. And these guys, because
No, I
they
think
made
you
me
were
funny,
under
and I
the-
wasn't funny before.
You were doing things that
They're talking
you
about
were
themselves.
working things out.
We're having this conversation.
They're trying to decide who would have made that
Just
speech.
the
Who would have said, who was the more
role
serious?
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
Did you guys have that kind of...
Leonard came from a school of acting similar to Patrick's. Different approaches, but he was Spock. In the first years, he was Spock for a variety of reasons. Mostly safety.
I was submerged, yeah. I really was.
Personal safety, so he felt safe there. And he was somewhat dour. I mean, he's got a great sense of humor, and it only came out later. That's
And were
what
you
I was-
wild from the beginning?
I'm afraid so.
I have one question that I would like to pose to each of you, which I would love for you each to answer. And that is, at this point in your life, and when you look at it, what did Star Trek mean for you?
Looking at me?
Sure.
Are you looking at me? You looking at me?
I'm looking at you.
Well, ultimately, Star Trek meant everything. Star Trek was a springboard into the many things that I've done subsequent to that. Star Trek led me into being this celebrity thing that is box office, which means people want you to do work that they wouldn't ordinarily want you to do, but because you're popular, you're in the public eye, and you can get publicity for the thing you're doing. And so talent aside, the celebrity thing brings with it the ability to do things you might want to do. Mm-hmm. And that's what has happened to me. Whatever negative things Star Trek might have brought are far inferior to the extraordinary luck that I've had because of Star Trek.
Cool. Leonard?
I arrived in Los Angeles when I was 19 years old, and from the time I was 19 to the time I was 35, I had increasingly better and better roles over the years, but never had a job that lasted longer than 2 weeks. So I was in that cycle that so many actors are in, which is, what's the next job and will there be another job? And you'd get a job, and when the job was finished after 4, 5, 6 days or 10 days, whatever it was, there's that empty feeling of walking off the lot or driving off the lot and not knowing when or where you're going to work again. So for me, for the first time to see my name actually painted on a dressing room door rather than put on in chalk and then ready to be obliterated after 6 or 7 days was a major event and a great blessing, great blessing. After Star Trek, I never again had to worry about finding work. I have never needed to worry about getting work since Star Trek first went on the air in September 1966. A gigantic change in my life.
Nice. Patrick?
Everything that Bill said, everything that Leonard said applies to me too. But there are two other things, for me, huge pride in what we did, in what we put on the screen, the television screen and subsequently the movie screen. And in addition to that, to know that wherever I am in the world and whatever I'm doing, that there are 8 people, and I can pick up the phone, and whatever is good or bad for me, they will be there, rock solid.
Wow, that's neat.
Yeah, I was going to take that one.
Sorry.
It created, in addition to being able to buy a car finally and buy a house and all the wonderful things that came from it and being part of this legacy, it has given me some of my closest lifelong friends. And every morning, no matter what mood I was in, I looked forward to going to work, no matter what the hour. I said, I'm going to spend the day with these clever, silly, talented, wonderful people. And it was, and still is when we get back together, the best job in the world.
Wonderful.
Great.
Here, here. Oh, what was that other one? There was another one.
I never saw an episode of that,
I'm
did you?
so impressed.
What are we talking
Sing it,
about?
you can sing it? I barely can recognize it.
In fact, I would say the 6 episodes I directed, they kept me going during those last years, 7 years. To know that somewhere in a few months' time there was an episode coming up with my name on it was fantastic. And to be directing these episodes with your pals in front of the camera, and even I'd been in the films and they were outside my abilities. The scale and scope of it was too huge. Also, I felt I couldn't play the captain and take on that responsibility. I don't know how it was for you, but when we were directing episodes, I hated it, the days when I had to act. And furthermore, I couldn't act in the...
We were said to, it was absolutely free.
Things
Well, you were
that,
there.
that you wouldn't, didn't like about his performance.
If
would-
you didn't have thick skin on our set, you
Yeah, you were in
really
trouble.
didn't survive.
Really?
It was
Yeah.
a very,
Yeah.
very brutal room.
tough room.
It was.
A tough
I don't
room.
understand the distinction. You say you really enjoyed doing the episodes, but you did not want to direct the film.
Yeah, because more important, with your pals behind the camera, too.
What did you do when you were directing?
I asked him if he'd kneel down
No,
in an empty
yes, but
and
no.
he's never forgiven me for it.
With your pals, you're wonderful friends, you love each other, but something in your actor's mind doesn't like, Jonathan, would you stop smiling? Come on.
Yeah,
Jo-
we
Can
did all
you
of it.
say to
Yeah,
your,
we did
your
all of
buddy,
it. Absolutely.
You know, for 170, you did 179? You're on the last.
178.
Right,
Bill.
so 178. So on the 177th show, Jonathan says, Patrick, I can't stand the smile. Just, would you stop smiling?
Yeah, sure. We said,
Really?
But you know, we said that when we weren't directing.
Yeah.